Hello and welcome back to another Betting Bankers live stream. We're here to discuss all things sports gambling related with a focus on soccer, horse racing, NFL and NBA. We share our bets before the event starts and then we monitor the progress as the action happens. Let's get cheering on those winners and making some money.
Hello and welcome back to another episode of the Betting Bankers. I think PK, you couldn't have timed that much better.
That's perfect.
Yeah, I actually think it was. So welcome back slightly later than usual. We were just watching some of the matches off air before we jumped on ourselves. So slightly smaller team here than most Fridays, but we'll be back closer to a full contingent as the matches are going on. So Slats, maybe we jump to you first. You're looking at the rugby. You're watching the rugby. Is that what you're watching at the minute?
Well, it's just kicking off now, yeah. So I'm going to be keeping an eye on the Wasps games. There was supposed to be 2 games on tonight. Toulon were travelling to Wales to play Scarlets. Scarlets had a COVID case in their team after last week's game. They were playing against Bath, and Bath pulled out of their game this weekend because they had so many close contacts with this Scarlets player. Bizarrely, the Scarlets game was still going to go ahead. They weren't pulling their team; they were still going for it. And Toulon said, "We're not risking our players playing." So, like, what do they call it? The 11th hour sort of thing. Like, it was, not that long before kickoff, before that kind of was announced that Toulon were saying that they're not playing. It was supposed to be at like 5:30 this evening, I think. That's the 4th game that's been cancelled now. So Bath played against Scarlets. They cancelled their match. And then last week, Exeter played against Glasgow, and Exeter had a few cases. So both of their games this weekend have been cancelled. So that's 4 out of 12, which is, it's going to put that asterisk against the outcome of the competition if they manage to finish the thing. God only knows what will be going on down the road. But anyway,
I think it's one of those ones that the teams that win won't see any asterisk beside their name.
No.
But if you don't win or it goes against you, it'll just be.
Yeah.
It was like that with the hurling last weekend. I thought if we won it, it'd be an absolutely pure win. But now that we've lost it, I'm like, it didn't matter. Anyway.
It's the first
COVID trophy.
Of course,
yeah.
it's an asterisk.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Some competitions definitely have it more than others. Like, I mean, the Premier League one, I think Liverpool would have won it anyway. But like those leagues, like so many teams were different after the lockdown and before the lockdown. And say the Champions League, where the 2-legged ties became 1-legged ties. Like they were effectively different competitions, Yeah.
So with last season's Heineken Cup, it was Exeter playing Racing in the final. The final was supposed to be in France, and it got moved to the UK or got moved to England. It got moved to. It was somewhere like Bristol or somewhere about an hour away from Exeter.
Yeah,
Bristol. Yeah.
So
that was a home final for all intents and purposes.
Exactly. Absolutely, it was a home final. And on top of that, Racing weren't able to train in the lead up to it because they did have COVID cases in their squad. So. For me anyway, like that, it was a soft win for Exeter to take the title. They're a likeable team, and they've had a good rise to kind of glory. Without the money to buy it, kind of work their way up the ranks. So I'd have respect for them, but it was a soft and different sort of win than some of the Heineken Cup have.
Yeah, big time.
So tonight, Wasps are playing against Montpellier. Montpellier didn't put up much of a fight against Leinster last week at home. So now I know Leinster are a different beast, but Wasps are a strong enough side. They'll be looking to get 5 points out of this game, I think. And I can't see Montpellier travelling. They've lost their home game. They're effectively out of the competition. I'm surprised the handicap was only 8 points, and it was evens. We've talked a lot about the difference. It seems like a slight difference between 10 to 11 and even money, but it's even for the spread. And I'm gonna try myself just on a few handicap spreads to do that 10 to 10k challenge. So do a tenner on this one, and hopefully I'll get off to a start and it won't be directly to zero.
What are we back? You backed Wasps to cover the spread against Montpellier.
Wasps minus 8 points, so they need to win by 9 or more.
Okay, I'm in.
Yeah, I just.
You jumping on that as well, PK? Are you?
Yeah, I'll throw it on. I like that. He makes sound reasoning there, like Montpellier throwing the towel against Leinster.
Yeah. Well, I'm not sure now that they throw the towel against Leinster. Leinster are they're the best competition.
A different beast, but especially going on the road, then knowing that you're pretty much out of
the French teams who aren't the most experienced in Europe don't tend to travel.
Yeah,
and having lost a home game, they would have just drawn in the club.
Yeah, and Wasps are in a bad side, so.
Wasps are decent. They'd be one of the stronger English teams. So
my limited knowledge in rugby these days, that's enough for me to jump on a bet.
Yeah, I think it's a good one anyway. Often it's hard to call it, but I think this one seems pretty solid. So that's
convinced anyway.
That's rugby bet for me for the night anyway. I'll keep you posted on how it's going because I have it on here in the background now anyway. So
yeah, I have the Preston and Bristol game on here. I realize that's in our bet, so it's the only one I can get live.
You're not keeping an eye on the Bundesliga game, PK.
I am. I don't have a way of watching it live, but I'm keeping an eye on the stats and stuff. Yeah.
So for any of our viewers, that's the game we have on screen at the moment. So we're giving you the sort of cartoon statistical update of that game.
There looks to be plenty of action going on in it so far. So what are we looking for? Just both teams to score?
Just both teams to score, yeah.
But so we also have the Zwolle Emmen game in Holland, and that's 51 minutes gone. It's 0-0. So
yeah, we just need Zwolle for the win there, don't we? So we'll take a 1-0 89th minute victory.
Oh, absolutely.
The best kind of victory, really, isn't it? It's most satisfying.
I mean, if that happened with the first bet in our bet and the thing, we'd be like, oh, this is coming in for sure. You always get your hopes up and you're like, oh, I shouldn't have won that leg, but now I won it. And then the last three let you down. You're like, I was close though.
It is crazy. Like we did, myself and Slats and a couple of other guys, PK, that you'd know from our old working together days, did a combined jackpot pick six. So it was the monster rollover they had in the English racing place pot, scoop six thing. I think it got up to 750 grand. And we had such a level of enthusiasm. We all chipped in, and we did like hundreds of lines. And we were out after the first leg, and it was just such a painful anticlimax. And I know it's no different. Like if you lose in the fourth or the fifth, you still lost. It's no difference, but it's just such a kick in the backside to be gone.
You want to get a sweat out of it at least,
Yeah, it was actually.
Even though it's probably more painful. Yeah.
Yeah, big time.
More painful to lose on the last one. In some ways you'd be like, all right, at least it's done and dusted early, but you still want that sweat regardless, even if it's going to lose. You still want that thrill of it.
There is certain bets that you can just say, at least I got a run for my money. I know it's a stupid old saying, but it is.
But that's something that we've talked about before, about why people bet, and obviously for anyone who's watching the show, we're not trying to be tipsters here or encourage people to do anything, but it's something that we all do for fun, and we get a lot of enjoyment out of it. And that's obviously if you're looking at it as a form of a way to make money, it's just pure numerical. But in reality, we're looking to get entertainment out of these things. Yeah. Obviously, then you get 5 races entertainment.
Right? It's nice to watch football on a Sunday and have a little like I do here, with the NFL, and just sit back, be hungover or whatever, and just have a little bet to watch along, and just be like, oh, okay, this is me for the day. And it's enjoyable because you're looking at a game and you're like, I don't really care who wins, but I need this team to win. It just adds an edge to it. And it's not, as long as
it matters more when there's money on a PK.
Exactly, but it is just had that edge too, because we all watch basically unlimited sport, and sometimes you're just like, well, am I just watching for the sake of it? But it adds a little bit to it too for us.
You just watch it because you got that dodgy box, PK, and you're just taking advantage of the fact that you got every sports channel.
I have to say, I've actually taken a break from online gambling to go in shop. So I'm doing all my bets in shop these days, and I'm actually enjoying it a lot more.
Well, I'd imagine
before, when I was online gambling, I was having a bet on every match, and then you kind of get frustrated if you got a loser. I'm actually enjoying some of the matches that I just have no interest in now, and you just sit there and watch it for the love of the game again, So,
there's that too. And plus, I there's no shops over here, but shops is a good thing as well if you have access, because you're not going to go 3 times a day. So if you're going to research your bets, select them, go down, that's it. and then you're doing it. Whereas online at your fingertips, you're just like, oh, I'll back this and I'll back that.
Yeah, like Slats must be tired of me sending him on frustrated Sunday morning texts, because I'd have talked to him during the week, and I'll have said, these will be the 2 Serie A teams I like and these 4 college football teams, and I'll have put about a combined €12 on those, and then I'll have bet about 50 or 60 quid on absolutely retarded accumulators and corners bets, and you're looking at your balance on Sunday morning, you're like, I should be up like hundreds, if not thousands, like, and I'm actually significantly down.
The 3 that you were confident on all have walked in, and then the 3 that you just decided on the morning, like one of them has come in, like, and
and you put 5 times the amount.
That you were like, I should have added another 200 quid to the return.
Exactly.
Back when we lived in Dublin in the League of Ireland betting, I always feel like that was Finn Harps. Like, you always throw them in, and then they just draw, and you're like, oh my good God, what was I even thinking?
I don't know anyone that ever backed Finn Harps to win a game. Ever.
Well, now you do. God.
Did you both get on Wasps -8?
Yeah.
I didn't know.
Yeah, grand. No, just Montpellier got a red card there.
Showing
face. So yeah, I think it was a little harsh. It was. I mean, any contact to the head now these days is going to get a red card. And
so what's the spread gone to? Let me check it here.
You know what it's at? It's worth the score, any a red card, right?
I was going to say, of all the sports, it's like, we talked about it in football.
It's early in the game.
It's not that beneficial necessarily because teams sit back.
But the only thing is it's the full back, so they'll get one of their wingers in to cover full back, and they're kind of a bit short out wide. This early in the game, it'd be a lot worse if you lost one of your forwards, because if you're down to 7 forwards for 80 or 70 minutes of the game, 75.
The handicap, guess what it is now, Slats?
15?
16 and a half. That's a big old jump. Won't be going near that now.
Too slow. Cheers, lads. That's what comes in now.
Well, yeah, it's not in yet. They still haven't managed to score, but anyway, plenty of time.
That's the worst thing with these games, especially, and the NFL, it's the same thing. Like, to them, a win is a win. Like, we're like, oh, you should be beating them by 15, but a win's a win.
Well, you see, in rugby, you have the bonus point for the 4 tries.
Points difference, yeah.
And I was looking at the pools, so there's 12 teams in each pool, and only 4 get out. So it's definitely going to come down to bonus points. There's no doubt about it. So you'll be looking to get bonus point wins in your home games if you want to get out of the pool. So Wasp will have to be eyeing that up tonight. And I know I agree with you. It's in any game in soccer, even when you back a team minus a goal, that sort of thing. You're the only person in the world, I feel like, that gives a shit if they win by more than 1.
Exactly.
They're happy out to win by 1. All their fans are delighted to win by 1, and you're there frustrated, going, "Why aren't you pushing for another goal?"
That's why handicap betting is a bit, especially in soccer. Like, it doesn't. It's not
soccer, great. I've definitely lost more than I've won in handicap betting in soccer.
Yeah.
And then when it gets, they take a 1-0 lead, but once it gets up to like 70, 75 minutes. They're not going to take any risks. Like, they're happy to sit on their lead at that stage. So
the other thing as well, of all the sports, like football, like soccer football, it's the easiest to sort of do nothing. Like, you can't just passively sit there in rugby. There's always a risk you're going to lose the ball. So you go down and take a 3-pointer. You get that in. But in soccer, it's easy to just sit back and defend it. So, or not take any risks and sit on the leads.
That's exactly it. You can waste too much time as well in possession and around the place. So yeah,
we've talked about it before in the context of those relatively safe, 1 to 10 injury time, jump on the winning team bets, and you can see some of those matches where they're just passed it over and crossed the back 4 and they're 1-0 up, and there's no way in the world they're going to concede because they're not even going to lose the ball.
Definitely think if you had the patience and the time to actually watch those games and keep an eye out for them, and if a game does go like that, you could grind a decent return off that sort of 1 to 10. Constantly rolling your stake up 10% every time, because like you're saying, you just know you can see in the game that they're shutting up shop. The opposition isn't really pushing that hard for it. There's just nothing going on. The game is as good as over. Like, they're just running down the clock.
Yeah.
I don't know what it's been the last couple of weeks, but a very slow start to all our games again in a bit.
Yeah, I was just thinking that myself. It's already half time in the Union Dortmund game.
0-0.
There was a ton of chances in that, and what's good for us is like Berlin had 9 shots with 3 on target, so like they dominated the shot stats in that half, and obviously that's what you want. I like those both teams to score where the away team is the favourite.
Yeah,
you know the home team is going to go for it too. The two teams are going to be pushing, and it's good to see Berlin pushing.
The two teams in their games, like the season, have averaged like nearly 2 goals per game themselves, and their games have averaged over 3 goals a game. Like if you just average out 13 and their games played in the league, like so. Yeah, 0-0 at half time is probably a bit of a strange one in this, to be honest.
What I'd be hoping for here is that the Frosinone game stays maybe goalless as well, and then get an over 0.5 double on both of them in about 15 minutes time.
Well, let's see what the price is for just a goal in the Dortmund game. It's 2-9. What's that? It's like nearly 1-4. It's still a 20% return, 22% return, right?
Yeah, and it's 1-9 in the Serie B game as well.
Frosinone was 10-11 for both teams to score. That's what we have in the ACCA, right?
Yeah.
That seems high to me for both teams to score.
Yeah.
Any logic behind it? I mean, it looks like good value. So.
I'm not sure. I mean, they both concede a goal a game and score more than a goal a game. It's, and then they win about half their matches. It's very generous price. We talked about it before. If you two English teams with the same stats, the market would be priced an awful lot lower.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, similar to the Berlin game, kind of 4-6 or even.
Yeah.
A little below that, maybe. Yeah, but
do we want to start a roller again and do the Dortmund game for a goal, or do I even want to double up, or is there any opinions on that?
I do. I think we should start a roller for the night anyway if we have to. Yeah.
Do we have the kitty again? We do.
I'll prepare it here. I'll need a moment. So which game are we lining up?
I don't. What do people reckon on the Dortmund game for a goal?
I think so. There's been plenty of action in it, and you've said the stats are good, right?
Yeah.
So in play look good. If you're saying the pre-game stats look good, I don't see why not. Like,
what do you reckon, guys?
I haven't looked at the stats, but yeah, I'd be interested to see. Obviously, my favorite market, the shot on target market, and see is there anything in there. But I haven't looked at it, so if you fancy that, pull the trigger. I'm on board with anything.
But take a look at half time anyway. We've got 15 minutes.
Half time. I don't think I don't have shots on target market, so only two. If someone wants to take a look, but Haaland isn't playing.
I'll have a look there.
The main man for that would be injured.
That should mean more juice.
I mean, looking at some stuff here, like Marcus said, I don't normally plays match corners. There's currently been 6, and for over 9, it's 2-7. You're like, I mean, you're only
burned with that before now, BK. I remember one day I did an act. I did an act, and it was like a massive act, like 5 or 10 are paying, I don't know, like 2 or 3 grand or something like that. And like it was in an international week. Coming into the last 10 minutes of the game, all I needed in the Ireland Gibraltar game was an Ireland corner, or any corner, but Ireland would have been the team you'd expect to press. And the ball was rolling out. It just got to the line, and the Gibraltar player ran and trapped it on the line and turned back. I was nearly crying, and because it was the corner market, it just dead suspended. So I never got to see my cash out. But I had other teams in there. We there's Germany, Croatia. Germany were 3-0 up. I had Portugal and France, and they were 2 goals up. So the only thing that could let me down was the Ireland corners. And again, with that, it was something like 7 in the first half. So you were sitting there going, at half time, this is my banker, and then with 10 minutes to go, it was just it's gonna let me down, And
was that
sure enough, it let me down.
When we won 1-0 or whatever?
The really, really bad game. Was it Mick McCarthy's first game in charge?
Yeah, but that was horrendously windy, wasn't it? So we're probably against the second half.
But that was my logic, because when I went into it, I was like, right, fuck this. I'm not going to back any proper markets because it's the weather. And I was in that wind, you'd have the keeper tipping the ball over the bar and all that kind of stuff. Yeah. But yeah, it didn't work out anyway. So.
Well, it sounds like it worked in the first half though, because we probably had the wind, and then the second half against the wind, it was decidedly harder to win a corner.
Yeah,
well,
I'm trying to remember back now. I just remember the pain of it more than anything else.
That was painful, to be fair.
That Berlin game, though, the fact that they've had 3 corners each as well, like, even if one of them takes the foot off the gas, you could still rely on the other to get another 3 corners in the second half.
Oh, we have a penalty in the Bristol City game.
What's our bet on that, though? The accumulator?
Both teams to score. Over 2.5.
Oh, that's your one, Gary. Was over 2.5 in that match, is it?
Yeah.
Oh, very good. So early enough penalty. It's still early enough in that game, is it?
Yeah, only 20 minutes gone.
So just on the shots on target market here, like the use of Mukoku, so he's the Dortmund striker. He's even money for one shot on target in the second half. But there's one sticking out for me now. Emery Can, they used to play for Liverpool.
I was going to say, would you recognise that name? Yeah.
He's playing centre midfield, likes a shot from distance. Now, I'm not saying put all of our bet on him, but one, if you're having just a side bet yourself, 7-2 for one shot on target in the second half. I said he does like a long shot or long range shot. He'd probably take a free kick or two for them. So 7-2 seems big on him.
Who's he with? Berlin or Dortmund?
Dortmund.
But Dortmund they've had only one shot on target too, which is weird. It's not like them.
No, but they've had a lot off target, and I mean we've talked about it's hard to really know. Those shots off target could have been pounding off the crossbar, so they've had 7 shots, 6 have been off target,
Yeah, Preston are 1-0 up, so that's a bit of action on our bet on you at least.
It's still early, and that's only about 20 minutes gone on that, is there? Yeah,
I feel like getting Scott Sinclair plays for Preston now, eh? I might try and get the German game up here on something. Not an illegal stream or anything like that. No, I wouldn't be advising stuff like that.
Have we had any discussion while I stepped away on the in-play selection?
Yeah, we're doing 100 on Emre Can to have a shot on target at 7-2.
I said that's probably not the one for us to put the bank on. But I'm up for it, but I said
of course you are.
Who's to have the shot?
For Romelu Lukaku during the week, so which is a disappointment to say the least.
Yeah.
No, I'll admit, Gary, I'd be tempted by their striker Lukaku or whatever to have a shot on target at even money. I don't think it's a bad bet at all.
He Lukaku's brother, Lukaku.
Lukaku, what's his name?
Mukoku.
Yeah, well, potato.
He's evens for a striker to have a shot on target is hard to turn down. But I'm happy to go just safe for a goal cheer on either team.
And this is in the Berlin game.
In Berlin game, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I have it on here.
So you're saying he's the striker, or what? It's either lone striker, or are they 4-4-2, or what?
They're playing a 4-1-4-1, basically.
He definitely he hit the post in the first half, anyway. I'm just after seeing it's halftime highlights here.
And he's even money, Jesus. I don't know. Should we also be starting a 10K challenge and throwing that on?
No, it's 100 to 10K challenge on this, right? But the roller. I think the goal is the best bet. Whatever it is, 2-9.
Go with the goal.
But I feel
Lukaku scores the goal, we'll all just be happy.
Yeah.
So it's actually 1.27 on the exchange already. So that's a little bit of
27 quid isn't a bad return for a goal.
I mean, that is value, in fairness, for a game like that.
And do we pull the trigger now, or do we wait for a little bit of greedy drift after halftime?
Yeah, pull the trigger now. You can set it to get 1.3 if you want, but I'm not sure it's worth.
It's 1.27 already.
Well, whatever you want to set it to greedy wise, so.
Oh, we'll take 1.27. Like you said, it's a good.
Go on, be greedy. Yeah.
Right. We're on. We're confirmed.
Still 0-0 in this rugby, by the way, but the Montpellier out half has just gone off with what looks like an injury.
Jesus.
So they're having a torrid time.
Yet.
But yeah, there's been 3 penalties missed, so it's still 0-0. But yeah, I'm still confident about the Wasps beating the spread there, especially now with Montpellier down to 14.
Have you gone through your best bets for the weekend, lads?
Guys, did you get the updated table for while I'm kind of researching the answer to that question? Did you get the table done for the Super Contest?
I did, but I did it last night and I haven't had a chance to check it, so I don't know whether it's 100% accurate or not. I've been flat out all day. Why, are you looking to see where you are?
No, I just think it's pretty tight now, right? It's getting interesting.
It is pretty tight, yeah. I mean, I know I'm 5.5 points behind, which doesn't sound like much, but I mean, with only 3 weeks to go, it's a lot. So I kind of need 15 out of the next 3. But like I'm still down in like I'd say 15th position. So 2 or 3 points separates the top 5 or 6, I think.
Yeah, that's what you want.
We were all more or less on 16 and a half when we did our side competition. I'd say there's still only a point or 2 between us all.
I think there is only literally 1.5 points between the 4 of us.
Yeah, which is actually funny considering how different our picks are every week. Although this week is by miles.
Yeah.
So for the viewers, what's up on the screen now is each of our selections for a super contest that Gary runs. So it's kind of like the Vegas super contest. You pick 5 NFL teams to beat the spread. And these are our picks here on the screen. Mark Lee is not with us tonight, and he actually unfortunately had the Raiders minus 3.5 last night, so that didn't come in from it all. I think they lost by 3 anyway. But this week we have me, PK, and Gary. We've 3 out of the 5 the same, which is pretty good.
Yeah, all 3 of them are going to lose. So
we've all gone Dolphins anyway. I remember that.
All of the Dolphins. We all have the 49ers.
I think that's a slight bit of cheating by me now, LB, because we had a pretty in-depth conversation, you asking me as a 49ers fan about would I do them, and then I was actually trying to turn you off, not kind of like in a bad way,
Gary. So
but just based on being a fan and being kind of overcritical or whatever. And then you said a couple of things, and I was like, geez, I must look at them, and now they're kind of my banker of the weekend. So I've gone from being totally kind of like cold on them to now being like I'm going to lump on them on Sunday. So kind of robbed you there.
Yeah, well, we've talked about this before. That's one of those ones, and I actually haven't backed it when we've talked about it. It was the Texans the week that I didn't do it, and we talked about it on our Thanksgiving show, and then I said it made no sense. It was such a generous spread, and then they smashed it, and I didn't have it myself. But like that, the Cowboys have been toxic, and that 2.5 just like they could be 15 points up, and you'd be thinking, how did anyone not take 2.5?
Yeah, they've sort of sorted it, but in offensively, but like the ball is just in the other team's hands so often. San Fran, other than they're very good defensively, like haven't got much going for them on the offense this season either. So that's Gary. It's injury ravaged season if ever I seen one. But
so you're trying to talk us out of them as well, PK. Even though
I took San Fran, like, but not with any huge confidence. But it's only a 2.5 point spread, and as you said, like the Cowboys could literally just lie on their backs for half the game because they've quit.
Yeah,
I think they're.
The Chiefs news is big now for me. I see you lads don't have the Chiefs, but for me, I took the Chiefs at the Saints. But Breeze was announced today as being back as the starter, so he's been given the all clear. So that could make a difference. Still, like, I mean, I think I could lose out by the half point. I can now see it being kind of a if it'll be a 3 point differential. So I would still go for the Chiefs minus 2.5, but 3.5 I'm kind of a bit apprehensive about now.
What is the line at, by the way? Has it moved?
I haven't checked.
And then PK, yet again, me and you have a head-to-head. Although this time, oddly enough, I've gone against the Bears and you've taken them. So
yeah,
one.
I've been just doing them on gut now recently, and then my research wasn't very good on that one, as we discussed.
PK offline, myself and PK were talking about our head-to-head, and he kind of, I wouldn't say scolded me, but he was like, the Vikings have nothing to play for. They'd have given up, but they're actually effectively tied with the Bears. So it's actually a huge game. I think home advantage is going to be basically what I'm taking that one on. So
yeah.
Doing a little side bet on it, like you have.
No, I'm not doing side bets anymore. They always go against me. And somehow, like, I'm ahead of
your chance to win them back.
I'm ahead of
for anyone who's watching. By the way, myself and PK have had 4 or 5. Is that right? 4 head-to-heads?
4, 3 you've won, and the other one, the Browns, as a push, was exactly -3 by a last-minute field goal or something.
Yeah, so he's 0 for 4 or a push for 4.
But the thing is, they're all part of that league thing, which means I lost in 4 as well in the Super Contest, and I'm ahead of you in that. So it's just anytime I go head-to-head with you, I'm fucked.
Yeah.
Lesson
so
learned.
In the overall standings, PK, in the overall standings, X-Lee is on 36.5. You're on 36. LB is on 35.5, and I'm on 35. So point and a half separating us. But that's what I'm saying. Like, I mean, 40.5 is leading. So, like, you know, I'm 5.5 points behind. So, like, PK, you're still well in with a chance there. If you have a 5 out of 5 this week, you could be within, like, touching distance of third anyway, because you're you're 3.5 off third place at the minute. So it's not impossible to turn that around in the last 3 weeks, you know.
Yeah, that's why I threw in a couple of flyers. Like, I knew no one had touched the Steelers after their last 2 losses at that, but the Steelers now have to prove a point, and I think -13 is doable. They're just gonna, they have to win now to try and get back that number 1 seed, like, and especially with Kansas City having a tough trip to New Orleans. Or I'm not sure who's at home actually in that game, but it's a tough game regardless.
No, it is.
It is New Orleans, yeah.
Yeah, and then I think the Steelers, there's no doubt the Steelers win, but I just think they put the foot down and try and get the momentum going again, and that's why I took them at a big spread. And I kind of knew no one else would probably touch them, so I was like, okay.
That's one we talked about that last season, PK. I did the whole time, and you just, when you get to a certain distance behind, you just roll the dice, because if you just keep taking the middle of the road, you're never going to catch up.
Exactly, and there's no value. Like, it doesn't matter if you come bottom or fucking 5th, because it's the same. You get the same back. So I might as well roll the dice on a few. I think that's just the way it has to be.
Are you tempted to get involved next year, lads?
What is it?
Are you tempted to get involved next year?
I mean,
not based on how I was zoned out from what you're talking about there. Anyway.
I mean, I don't see why you wouldn't, because most of it is just following stats and news and teams' results, you know. Because
to be honest, I'm only messing. I would be interested in getting into it. When it's kind of, you know, the middle of it, and I'm not involved in it already. Yeah, it's hard to kind of
get for everyone, because you don't know who's improved or who's improved their squad, coach changes, all that stuff. Like, in off season, it's just the first 3 weeks you're just getting a feel for it, and you're like, oh, right.
Yeah. Also, this rugby match is actually really entertaining. I thought I would just be kind of keeping half an eye in the background, but it's Montpellier are really having a go of it, considering they've only 14 players. It's 5-0 and 12-0 Wasps now, so the handicap is already in our favour.
There's a goal in the Dutch game too, by the way.
That's sweet.
Yeah, well, not the one we really needed in. We're still waiting for a goal in that Pexwell.
Oh shit! Yeah.
There's like 12 minutes left. But yeah, one goal in the 2.
Oh, it's water all over them now, though.
Yeah, I saw that. They're dominating. All right, I was even thinking, would we have a risky enough in play punt there?
Them stats weren't near like that at half time. Like, they'd only 3 or 4 attempts on goal at half time, and now they've 13. So they're absolutely all over them second half.
Yeah, they're dominating.
It's worth a sneaky little side bet too.
Yeah, are we on this Dortmund Berlin match actually for a goal? Are we?
Yeah, I'm about 2 minutes behind.
Just a single goal.
Yeah, no, I just can see the second half has started off again there. There's no shots yet, but Good that we're on it anyway, in case there is an early goal.
Yeah. I'm probably going to be a bit behind you, but I'm watching the stream here.
Of those kind of games, like it could get to almost like 80 minutes, and you'd still be fairly confident of something happening in a Dortmund match.
That's hopefully true.
Well, hopefully it won't come to that. They'll all know in the next 2 or 3 minutes. So we can...
Oh yeah, that also.
I was going to say, just to finish up the super contest, it's actually mad, and I'm going to up my plot out for next week just to see. But it's mad how, I think over the last 2 seasons, but definitely this season, we've kind of came towards equilibrium. So everything's priced up basically 10 to 11. And at some stages during the season, probably only about 4 or 5 weeks ago, the leaders were on like 75% strike rate, and the people who were bottom were at like 20%. But now the leaders are down to about 58, 59%, I think, and the bottom are up to about 30%. So everybody's just conversion towards like the even money, that way. It's mad how nobody could keep that just peak of being ahead of the bookies. Like,
I wonder, could you like independently take that as a strategy for gambling, like go against the people who have a good first half of the season and then back the people who have had a shit first half of the season?
But you're right.
With that
remember,
hope
Slats,
that they'll
on the midweek show, we talked about that with Lee, because he was asking about the professional teams that enter the Vegas Super Contest, and you can see so clear. If you ever look at their results, it's so clear the patterns in, there's whatever analysis these guys do, they go on these runs, and they kind of whatever bias they have in there, they'll get 4 or 5 weeks where they're getting 4 or 5. And then it goes the other way, and they'll have 4 or 5 weeks where they're on 2 or 1 or whatever, 1.5. And it seems to be the same in your competition, Gary, that it just does drift back towards the center again.
Yeah. And even, Slats, I don't know whether you've heard of the default that we have in there, but basically, just in case someone misses their picks and so they're not just out of it, we do a default of the first 5 away teams on the screenshot that I take. So it's totally random. Like, I don't even think the screenshot is in alphabetical order. It seems to just be, could be by time maybe.
It is.
When it gets, it's definitely by time in terms of you get the Thursday game, but I like the 6 o'clock games on the Sunday. I don't know what the logic is there.
Tell me this: do you track how someone would have done had those been their picks every week?
Yeah. So the default is in 4th position.
Really?
It's a point away from the leader. It's absolutely ridiculous. And again, it was miles down. The default was probably 15-20% in the first couple of weeks, and then it just spiked up recently. So it's going on the run that LB is talking about. The last couple of weeks, it's just had 4s and 5s galore.
I remember 4 of us were doing a rugby spreads one like that, and I put in another. There was a website that kind of gave just statistically based picks, and then I also threw in just a coin toss. I just flipped the coin on each game and went one side of the spread based on that. And the coin toss was beating the lot of us. It was it was well above 50%. It was near 60%, just by chance, obviously. But it fucking bet the lot of us.
I mean, these are essentially coin flips with a bookie percentage built in, and that's it. That's why they'll always win. Because as Gary said, you can see it comes back towards an equilibrium for all of us. It's always close to 50%. And even that time we talked about it a few weeks ago, Gary, a couple of the guys are up near 70%, I think it was. And I was like, I fully expect them to come back, because last year it was around 60% that won it, right?
Yeah.
And expect that to be probably, if anyone was over 65, I think it'd be an anomaly, really, right?
Yeah, but it seems so doable to pick 3 out of 5 a week. Do you know that way? It's just 3 out of 5 a week, win yourself 1,500 quid or whatever it is, laughing away, nice Christmas present. And you go to do it, and you're just half a point, 0, 1.5. It's ridiculous.
I was saying though, because we have to pick 5, it makes a slight difference. So next season, what I'll do is I'm gonna record my strongest one of the weekend, and I know it's smaller, but I'm just gonna see if my over the 18 game weeks, if my percentage is much differential in the percentage of what I get in the picking 5 and picking 1.
Yeah, if your banker is the staple and the rest of it.
That'd be interesting to see, actually, because you always feel if you just had to go at one banker that you'd have a decent enough success.
I thought about that, PK, at the start of this season. I thought I would always put them in order. So like my pick 1, pick 2 would be my first 2 picks, and then kind of scrambling for pick 4 or pick 5. But I think by week 3 or 4, I'd forgotten about it, and I just completely lost track. But it's definitely
30 seconds to the deadline. You're just throwing anything.
Yeah.
That's it, because and then you forget about your spreadsheet that you're supposed to do in yourself and everything. You're like, all right. But I think I already know pick 1 of next week or next year. Anyway, week 1 is whoever's playing the Jets just covered. I know, it's a joke.
Yeah, one of those Dutch games, Agmar Helman game, is 1-1. So both teams to score in the bag. The other is still 0-0.
I mean, this Dortmund Berlin game, there hasn't been many chances, but like it's just so open. Like they're just, it's been just balls knocked behind them. There's going to be a goal in this game.
I thought I saw Berlin had another chance there on target. Did they shot on target there a couple of minutes ago?
It looked like it was probably going wide. That's how far behind. Yeah, but
what was I going to say? Montpellier actually scored a try here in this game, so it's 12-7 now. We're back within that.
If you'd taken that 16.5, you'd be in awful panic now. Look,
stressed. All right, now it's not even half time yet, and I do expect the team with 14 to fire a bit more, and they've lost their out half as well. But they're really giving it a go. I thought they'd have packed it in 12-0 down with all that going against them. I thought they'd have thrown in the towel, but fair play. I still think the 8 points is safe enough.
I think so. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. What about you, Gary? You mentioned the bets of the weekend. Have you picked something out yourself?
Yeah, I actually have a treble with some of my old friends in there that I'm gonna. It's 11-1 for the treble. Takes me fancy. So
Exeter, Cambridge, Colchester.
Yeah, so Exeter don't make it this week, but Colchester do. So I flagged up a couple of weeks ago that they were going on a run of away games, and they were out of form away, but they were starting to pick up, and they haven't done too badly. They won 1, drew 1, lost 1, but they're back at home now, and I just think it's a good matchup for them this weekend. They're 6